Hello out there, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Kino Lorber 4K Blu-ray release of Eastern Promises, a film that I recently picked up for 10 bucks. And what a find that was. This is a terrific film that really showcases both David Cronenberg and Viggo Mortensen's respective talents. I feel as though this is a movie that just seems to get better upon subsequent viewings. I remembered seeing it in theaters and being sufficiently impressed, but what's quite striking about this release is that the 4K HD transfer just looks simply stellar. It provides so much depth. I think that's one of the most impressive aspects about a proper 4K Ultra HD transfer, is that you get a depth of field that you simply won't get a full stop with a Blu-ray, DVD, or VHS. It feels as though you're looking into a window and seeing that world in all of its 3D, richness. And of course, this movie has a rather infamous fight sequence in it that, of course, showcases in all 4K UHD glory Viggo Mortensen's, vegetables, as it were. And that may appeal to some. I don't think it's necessarily a plus or a minus as much as it is just a fascinating fight sequence that I don't think I've ever seen previous to this. I think it really depicts the sort of exposed nature of Viggo Mortensen in that moment, because obviously sitting in a bathhouse nude and then getting jumped by a couple of Russian thugs, that's about as terrifying as I think you could imagine. And the fact that he was able to obviously, come out on top, as it were, and despite all of that, is obviously a testament to the toughness of the character, and then also just how they managed to choreograph it and film it in such a way that doesn't feel like a gimmick. It feels terrifying, quite frankly. And as with many of Viggo's, or I should say David Cronenberg's films, there is a honest brutality to the proceedings. I think more than any director, in fact, I would argue that Cronenberg depicts violence in such a way that really makes you feel as though it's real. It's not just filmic violence that's meant to be either thrilling or cartoonish. The way he depicts it is more horrific. It's usually short, brutal, and rather grotesque. And I think there's at least from my point of view, there's a greater honesty and less sensationalistic nature to a sequence that's filmed in that way, that has great violence in it. So again, kudos to David Cronenberg for really making just a terrific film. I'd argue that this film, A History of Violence, and perhaps The Dead Zone are his three best films. I should also put The Fly in there. I feel as though that's obviously one of his best as well. But generally speaking, I feel as though the more straight ahead narratives, The Fly obviously notwithstanding, are actually some of his best, and the weirder stuff I'm not as much of a fan of. But again, this release is quite terrific. Now, the special features aren't really anything all that special because they're just ported over from the previous DVD release, but they are interesting, and there's some good stuff in there about the bathhouse scene that I just mentioned, as well as just the story. And Cronenberg is featured prominently, and there's a nice little featurette about Naomi Watts apparently having never ridden a motorcycle before she did this film and had to learn quickly. I'm a big fan of hers. I think she's just a terrific actress. So on balance, I feel as though this film is a solid A movie. It's, again, one of Cronenberg's best. I think Viggo is spectacular in it. And I should mention honorably that Vincent Cassel, I believe is his name, does a terrific job as, a rather interesting character who has some layers. It's not all black and white, and that's what I like about the film, is that the characters in the movie you know, there's certainly good and bad, and you know, I think complexity to the characters. They're not just simply black and white sort of cardboard cutouts. There's some depth, and that again goes back to the writing and the way Cronenberg realized the film. So certainly recommend this. I think it's something that, you know, if you can find for 10 or 15 bucks, it's a no-brainer. Add it to your collection. You won't regret it. And again, having seen this on film in the theaters as well as on DVD, I can state unequivocally that the 4K UHD transfer on this is just stellar. I think Kino Lorber did a terrific job here. So on that note, I suppose I could take it out of its slipcase and just show the disc art, which of course I think there is no disc art. It's just your standard Kino Lorber you know, artwork on the disc. But again, I think the component or aspect of the film that's most noteworthy is the transfer itself, which is again just grade A. So on that note, please take care out there, everyone. Stay safe, be kind, and keep watching cinema.